Hey everybody, welcome to Collaboration and Supervision. This is our first narrated lecture. I am utilizing the textbook resources, which I find really helpful and nicely aligned to our student outcomes for this course. This first chapter that you will read is really a foundational chapter to get you rolling with the content of this course and of this text. So the learning objectives for this chapter are relatively broad. You will define collaboration and describe its critical characteristics. You'll look both interpersonally and intrapersonally when defining collaboration. And then you'll outline the importance of collaboration from a broad societal perspective, including its place in disciplines such as business, health and human services. And you'll analyze the place of collaboration within contemporary schools, given the expectations set by current legislation and reform initiatives, and including formal and informal collaborative practices, and those specific to special education. And then you'll discuss the challenges that may arise as educators collaborate responsibilities as those responsibilities do expand. And you will describe a framework for studying collaboration, which is what we're doing in this class. So here are some broad concepts of collaboration. We already know, you probably already get a sense from your time either working in the field or just working in general, right? That collaboration is an integral part of any field where you are working with others. And in school, this is the same. Um, Collaboration can occur both formally and informally. Some schools have collaboration day. In my district, it's Wednesdays, and during virtual learning, my students, teachers have one full day of collaboration in the high school. I don't know what the elementary schools are doing, but they have a whole day during remote learning anyway. And then um, collaboration is a common thread in many current initiatives for school reform, which we will talk about a few. One is RTI and MTSS, which I'm sure you may have already heard about in your other courses, but you will be reading about those initiatives again in this class. It is not a synonym for other terms such as teaming, consultation, inclusion, or co-teaching. Those um, those aspects of the work that you do, teaming, consultation, inclusion, or co-teaching, requires strong collaboration, but they're not synonymous with collaboration. So to be a good co-teacher, you have to be able to collaborate. For inclusion to be successful, you have to be able to collaborate. You see where I'm going. And it cannot exist in isolation. You cannot um, effectively collaborate on a high functioning team and do your work independently or in isolation. What you'll find happens is that you're missing pieces of your important work. Your team might be missing important pieces because you hold the key. And so collaboration absolutely cannot happen in isolation. If you all just go off on your own in your own little worlds, you're not actually collaborating. This is the technical definition of collaboration. It's interpersonal, it's a style for direct interaction, and we're going to take a look this week at our own interpersonal styles of interaction between at least two co-equal parties voluntarily engaged in shared decision making as they work toward a common goal. And in the beginning of this description, you can see where it says at least two co-equal parties. And so when we think about true collaboration, we have to think about a power dynamic, and those power dynamics can occur in many different ways. It could be teachers and paraprofessionals who are partnering or collaborating. There's definitely a power differential. Principals and teachers, there's a power differential. Um, and this happens a lot. And so for true collaboration, we have to find ways to be on equal footing with those that we are collaborating with. And this doesn't mean that you can't invite a principal to a collaboration meeting. It doesn't mean that you're not going to collaborate with a paraprofessional. It just means we have to understand the power dynamic when we are collaborating. It's going to influence how people communicate. And so some defining characteristics of collaboration. You should know that collaboration is voluntary. Your participation, you may be required to attend collaboration days at school. You may be required to attend meetings where collaboration is the expectation. But truth be told, your participation is 100% voluntary. So think about that for a minute. You are called into a meeting and you can approach this meeting one of two ways. You can willingly participate and offer your expertise and your knowledge, or you can be an outlier and hang back and allow the others to do the work. And so when you're thinking about your role and how you participate in collaboration, how you participate is voluntary. Um, Ethically and morally, if you're going to truly collaborate, you have to participate. It does require parity among participants, and that's that co-equal participation that I was talking about on the last slide. And this becomes challenging when you have mixed groups of colleagues that are they're at different levels on the pay scale. Maybe they have different contractual obligations. But that parity, true parity, requires co-equal participants. Um, Collaboration should be based on mutual goals and depends on shared responsibility for participation and decision making. And so when you start a true collaborative process, you have to define what the shared goal is and who's responsible for which part of the participate of the process. And we're going to talk about problem solving and collaboration this quarter too. There has to be shared resources and shared accountability for outcomes. Some emergent characteristics of collaboration include individuals who collaborate, um, who have this value of interpersonal style. Professionals who collaborate should trust one another, and there should be a sense of community that evolves from collaboration. And collaboration in a societal context, if we were to think about societal trends, we do see an increasing reliance on collaboration because of changing labor needs and information explosion. Thank you, Internet. Um, there's also collaboration across professions um, with increasing focus. For example, across professions, I work at a professional technical college, and so when I am developing courses and I am researching and preparing content for my courses, I need to know industry best standards, and sometimes that requires me not only to do my own internet research, but to reach out to districts and say, hey, which language and literacy curriculum do you use in your district? Do you mind if I look at your resources? So there's this across profession collaboration that happens, and it's increasingly important in human services. And I do consider education a human service. But if you're thinking about human and social services, we see a lot of cross collaboration. And then there's school collaboration, of course. We already talked about RTI and MTS as just a little bit. We will go a little bit deeper into that as we go. And then some additional examples of school-wide collaboration might be school district teams or grade level teams, paraprofessionals that work in inclusive settings, and of course, special education collaboration. And we are a dual cert program, so all of you in this program are becoming general education teachers and special education teachers. So it's important for you to understand collaboration and IDEA. You will likely work on IEP teams. You have to understand least restrictive environment, and that is a collaborative process, right? Because you may, for a lot of you, if you're working in preschool special education all the way through grade 3 special education, you're working with students who are recently identified or yet not yet identified. And so that team is going to make the decision about a child's least restrictive environment, which will require knowledge from a variety of parties. The highly qualified teacher requirement, I think that this is a term that may change as we see administrations change. And in my day, highly qualified had to do with your teacher certification. So I'm highly qualified as a K-8 certificated teacher and an early childhood certificated teacher. And then I am qualified as a special education teacher because of because my minor is in special education. But highly qualified means that I hold that credential. and how we collaborate around building those highly qualified teachers. And then, of course, assessment processes, transition, discipline and behavior support plans, paraprofessionals, and then mediation and dispute resolution. These are all parts of collaboration and school-wide collaboration. Of course, with collaboration does come challenges. Sometimes the school structure can be a challenge in itself. Um, Sometimes professional socialization can be a challenge, right? If there's a power dynamic and how we view those within the school. I know from teaching this course in the past, the power differential between teachers and paraprofessionals can be a challenge because we know, and those of you that are paraprofessionals, you know for a fact that you hold a wealth of information, but you're contracted only to do so much work, and sometimes you're asked to do more work than you should. And then sometimes you're not brought to the table when you should be, or a para isn't, because of that power differential. And then, of course, pragmatic or practical issues with collaboration. And then there's a framework for collaboration. You have to understand your personal commitment, your own communication skills, and the communication skills of others. This can become increasingly frustrating if you are working with folks who communication does not come easily. How do you value, or maybe even for you, how do you value that team member when communication skills are different across the board? And then the interaction process, is it fair, beginning to end? Is it a shared um, or a joint process? And then, of course, you have to understand the programs or services that you are collaborating as a part of. So, are you in a team? Are you in a co-teaching situation? Are you the consultant, or are you collaborating with a consultant? And then, of course, in your student teaching experience, you will have a mentor, teacher, and you will have your field supervisor who will be supporting and collaborating with you. And then you have to understand context. So in summary, collaboration is an interpersonal style that professionals may use in their interactions with colleagues, parents, and others. And collaboration is a reflection of contemporary societal trends related to changes in business and other professions, and the continued rapid increase in information flow and exchange, especially through electronic channels. Collaboration in schools is mandated or implied in legislation and related to school reform, including various forms of teaming and practices that provide curriculum access to all learners. And individuals who collaborate may find that challenges occur related to structural and professional isolation. And that'll do it for this presentation. This week you are going to be jumping right in. Please read chapter 1 in your text. Then there are some video resources I would like you to watch. They just add some richness to your learning. There is a discussion that you will participate in this week, and then each week you will complete a chapter assessment, which is just a quick quiz on the reading. So make sure that you're doing your reading and doing those check-ins for that. All right, everybody, have a great week.